Hello, how's it going? Good, grand, great, fantastic. And never a day goes by, or an hour goes by, or a second goes by where J.K. Rowling isn't trending on Twitter. And let's just have a look at what she posted. She posted this, comparing the suffragettes movement to what TERFs are going through. I'd say this is a new low, but with J.K. Rowling, I think every day is a new low with her. She has become completely deranged in their hatred of trans people, to the point where she's gone from, I would say, her ideology was either liberal, and when I say liberal, I mean, liberals tend to be centre-right, not left in any way, shape or form, to her aligning with basically far-right fascists. And there's plenty of evidence supporting that. And if I could be bothered, I would put it all in this video. However, I can't be bothered. If I do, I will stick it down or link a video that showcases that in the description below. Now, my issue with this is, now I expect this kind of deranged lunacy from right-wingers. Their victim complex that they have just borders on fetishism, in that they fetishize, whatever, can't speak English, about being a victim all the time. They cause all the problems in the world, and then when there's a pushback, they love to play the victim. And TERFs are no different. They love to play the victim. When, trans people are not trying to take away your rights. And I've said before, when it comes to things like sports, you absolutely have every right to stand your ground and say, no, there needs to be a separate category. Now, where I draw the line here is that you're comparing suffrage to what bigots are going through. Now, the suffragette movement, if you're going to compare it to anything, hun, is you should be comparing it to what women are actually going through today, especially in America and in the Muslim world, of being treated as second-class citizens, denied abortion rights, the rise of a theocracy in the United States that is definitely pushing to strip women of their rights. And we saw when even in the Senate in the United States, they're now demanding women cover up and all this kind of shit. And you've just seen this attack by theocratic states that that are happening on women. We've seen violence against women rise in the world. Now, these are genuine things to be concerned about and genuine things to take umbrage with and to fight for. But none of these things involve trans people. This isn't being caused by trans people. None of it. So this unhinged fear that you have, the way TERFs act, they act like trans people are going to slap on a wig, burst into a room and rape everyone. There might be one case of that per million. Okay, it does happen. It's even happened recently, where a convicted trans rapist was moved from a women's prison to a men's prison. Makes sense, because in that situation, female prisoners aren't safe. So moving them to the men's prison, it makes sense. It puts them in danger, but they're a rapist, so I don't really care about them. All right, but there are genuine things to be concerned about what is happening to women. And I've said it again, even my own, shaky cam. This is now turned into a Michael Bay video. It's action! Women are in danger! Okay, that's enough of that. Steady the camera and carry on talking. I don't have, all my female friends that are my age and younger, every single one of them has a story of just unwarranted abuse from men, unprovoked, completely unprovoked. And then the nicest people I know, Okay, well, of course they have. That's why I'm still friends with them. I'm not going to be friends with you if you're even 1% an arsehole. It's just, bad experiences from my childhood have made me very, very protective of who I let into my own personal circle. Okay? But regardless, like, even if you were a bitch, okay, it still wouldn't warrant the amount of abuse that these women have suffered. Purely for having the audacity to say, no, thank you. Okay, now these are things. Now, imagine someone like J.K. Rowling with the millions and millions of voices and deranged lunatics that she has on her side. Imagine tomorrow if she turned around and genuinely put her platform to say this attack on women and just say, you know what? Forget the trans issue. There's more pressing issues. Let's just use that logic, okay? There's more pressing issues. I'm genuinely worried about women, and it's nothing to do with the trans people. It's more the trans people. Sorry, I didn't mean to dehumanize. It's nothing to do with trans folk. Okay? It is to do with men. And the evangelical rise in America, and this genuine far-right violence and hatred and misogyny towards women. I mean, my God. Look, we have the king of the incels, Andrew Tate, who has finally been locked up, but it doesn't matter. They planted the seeds to grow many an incel, thinking that is what men should be like. Okay, these are the kind of things that J.K. Rowling and her folks should be fighting against. These are genuine threats to women. I mean, the guy is a fucking trafficker. I don't know, because I don't follow her. I just see like the odd picture posted. If she's ever commented about Andrew Tate, or if she's just focusing on attacking the most marginalised groups on the planet, which brings me on to I could definitely say, though I have to say allegedly, is responsible for the rise in attack against trans people. Okay, the media's attention towards and it's just, I've said before, it's just a diversionary tactic. You need to the capitalists in charge need an enemy, and they need fear, because without fear there's no way of sowing division. So you need to put, so we always see, they always attack migrants. Oh, they're coming over, they're taking your jobs, they're all on benefits, they're a drain on society. Meanwhile, those same capitalists are over in their country deposing democratically elected leaders, or blowing up their country and arming rebels and denying natural socialist movements within those countries. And so they have no choice, because things are so bad there, they're coming over here. But now we'll ignore that and we'll demonize them. But of course, a lot of people now, are sympathizing with the plight of refugees and immigrants, because they can see they're privy to all the information that's out there. They know that Western interference, or Western geopolitics, is the cause of all this. So they need to keep fighting and finding new enemies. And so, we had this attack on trans people, and it all stemmed from just having gender neutral toilets. Peeing sitting down next to somebody peeing standing up is going to be the downfall of society, and it just creates this area of fear. And it likely stemmed, like with the large anti-gay movement of the 2000s in America, it always stems from right-wing pastors, religious folks, or in this case just right-wing commentators who clearly have repressed feelings, okay, and are repressed homosexuals, or in some cases like Stephen Crowder, repressed person who clearly wants to come out as a trans woman, allegedly, and is doesn't want to do that because they're going to lose their main source of income if they do so. Happiness be damned. And we always see they feel this guilt within them, and this guilt turns to lashing out. All right, it's the same as when a narcissist is cornered and is losing an argument. They're just going to scream and shout and play the victim and completely derail the argument. Okay, we see this all the time, and this is no different here with the anti-gay movement, with the trans movement. Is you've got a lot of closeted people who are projecting, and they want to just find some way of not feeling this guilt that they are denying happiness to themselves. All right, Mike Pence, the former vice president of the United States, is a gay man. He's very, very gay. And he reckons, he had conversion therapy and all this kind of stuff. And is no longer gay. Ridiculous. So this is why you see all this kind of insanity. But the bigger picture is it's a useful tool for the 1% to get everyone distracted. And it's not working to the extent that they thought it was working. Like, I know we see, because like social media really hypes everything up, and everything gets very like a wildfire, just spreads, and you just think, oh my god, the whole world's like this. But in reality, if you look at the results, in the US elections, and remember the whole big thing was like they overturned Roe versus Wade there, and they thought, yeah, this is a great thing to do. But then the by-elections came, and in America they were expecting, as is usually the case, for everything to swing to the Republican side, because people like Manson and Kirsten Sinema have blocked a lot of legislation and caused a lot of frustration, and everyone thinks Biden sucks, which he does anyway. But what happened was the Republicans shot themselves in the foot, and Trump, who is the dumbest person on the planet, actually said to them, what the fuck are you doing? This is suicide. And he was right, because all his candidates lost, and all his candidates are pro-fascism. Okay, but all his candidates lost, I think, by 1 or 2, and the Republicans severely underperformed, and something that's never happened before, which was the side that was meant to take everything actually lost the Senate. They gained the House, but only by like 2 candidates, and it just proved, and the main reason for it was because of abortion. So so you're seeing a lot of infighting and scrambling in the Republican Party, because they've kind of backed themselves into a corner, because more and more people are less and less, they don't care anymore about the culture war. They don't care. We are living in a cost of living crisis. COVID saw the biggest transfer of wealth in the history of humanity, from the poor to the rich. We got poorer. The rich got infinitely richer. Okay, everyone can't afford rent now. Anyone can't afford food now, and it's all by design. There is no global event. Like the war on Russia really hasn't affected much of anything. Okay, because there are so many other countries you can go. I mean, Venezuela's economy has grown 22% because the Americans are like, oh, okay, maybe we'll lift the sanctions off of you, the illegal sanctions that we had on you, and buy some of your oil to kind of offset what we've lost in Russia. All right, so there's always places for corporations to go, and so we're just living in it's just late stage capitalism, but you have to be careful that you don't end up, because we're careering to like fascism big time, and at that point you might as well just burn down the state and riot, because there's nothing else left. But you see, this is what I mean. You've got all these kind of problems, and this kind of let me get back to it. So this anti-female rhetoric of the Republican Party that they thought would win them big time in the by-elections didn't. It backfired on them, and that is where some idiots like J.K. Rowling should be like, focusing their attention on, see, look, these idiot right-wingers, they tried to attack women and it backfired on them. We women should resist, we should fight back, fight the common cause and all this kind of stuff. But no, instead she's wasting her time on a marginalised group that just wants to be recognised for who they are. And we never talk about trans men. They're always are kind of ignored, because again, it's this whole anti-trans movement is from the male perspective. Sorry, ladies, but it's nothing to do with you lot. It's driven by right-wing men, and therefore that's why we're focusing on trans women, because trans men get ignored. Now, someone like me, okay, who could be a trans man, you're saying you'd be more comfortable with someone like me in the toilet than somebody that looks like, somebody who's actually transitioned into a woman rather than from a woman to a man. I'm not a trans man, but I'm saying like trans men, very hard to tell them apart compared to women. But you'll be more comfortable with that in your toilets. Anyway, I digress. Me, I don't care. Shit where you're going to shit, piss where you're going to piss. Who cares? Just keep your hands to yourself. Alright, but that's a much more important thing to focus your attention on. And she does have the potential to cause a ruckus. But now, much like so many left-wing commentators that only attack the left, aka like Jimmy Dore, you back yourself into a corner. Because now you have a bunch of right-wing fascists on your side, and therefore going after the very people that are actually suppressing women and women's rights is going to backfire on you, and you're going to lose your voice. And then you're going to be left in the wilderness, and your insane hatred will go ignored because you've alienated the group that you thought were your friends, but they're not, because they're very fucking fickle. And that is all. I've ranted off long enough. J.K. Rowling is a tit, and screw her, and screw the TERF movement. And we should all be uniting as workers to be fighting against deranged billionaires like her in the common goal of overthrowing the establishment and creating a socialist society where there is equality for all, and trans people can go on about their lives without feeling marginalised, attacked, and murdered for just being human. That is all. I'd say let normality resume, but normality sucks. So let whatever the realms of your imagination creates to make you feel more comfortable resume.